to talk about just the latest mad net zero-y stuff with Rupert Darwell, author of Green Tyranny. Good morning to you, Rupert.
Good morning, Julia.
Thank you for joining us. It's just non-stop, isn't it? The latest plan from the Energy Security and Net Zero Secretary, i.e. pick a side, he's not both of those, Ed Miliband. He's vowing to ban landlords from renting out properties that don't meet energy efficiency standards. You think on the face of it, oh, well, that probably sounds all right, but we're looking at people having to spend like up to 10 grand upgrading each of their rental homes. Well, that's fine, you know, if it's a big property renting out for a fortune, but if you're looking at like a studio, one bed, you know, flat, I'm not entirely sure that a lot of landlords are going to do that. The result of this is surely going to be simply properties being pulled from the market, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, Julia. And the other thing, it's not necessarily the idea that it'll make homes warmer, rental properties warmer, because landlords will be forced to put solar panels on the roof, and as you point out just a moment ago, this is not a country that endowed with constant stream of sunlight. Yeah, and heat pumps. Well, they're they've got a very spotty record at keeping homes warm.
Yeah, I'm genuinely. If there's one thing that I would actually kill for is to keep my gas central heating and my radiators. I will not be cold. I will not be cold. But this is the thing. A lot of these things, they sound all well and good, but you actually look at the practicalities. Yeah, look, there are some really cold and miserable homes in this country. We basically built homes for sort of blur weather and a bit of rain, rather than good quality homes. Yeah, people go, oh, well, it's wonderful. It all works in Norway. Well, yeah, because you have to build for -30 or whatever it is and snow every year, which we don't get. But again, a lot of our properties aren't very good nick. But all that I would have thought what's going to happen is these properties will come out of the official rented market, and then they'll just be rented on the sly, and then you'll have people who haven't got any choice, who've got no money. They'll be paying over the odds for cruddy properties, and they'll have no rights at all with their landlords. This is just going to create a black market.
Well, it'll do that. The other thing, Julia, to bear in mind is it looks like Ed Miliband's going to reinstall the boiler tax, so that boiler manufacturers will get fined effectively if they don't sell enough heat pumps. So you want to get in a new boiler soon.
No, I'm not joking. We've talked about doing this at home, just getting a new gas boiler in, just putting it in a cupboard and going, we've got it for next time. We'll get some dodgy bloke to do it. But again, you wouldn't be able to get it signed off. The gas engineer would be, be in trouble for signing it off. We are in crazy territory. It didn't work with the cars, forcing people to have a car that people don't want, and the 15 grand fine per car that's sold, that's above the percentage of diesel and petrol cars allowed to be sold. That already isn't working. They've had to push that back. There's no way in the world this is going to work. People will not be forced into paying a fortune for things that don't work properly.
The secret is, if they're talking about taxing and banning, you can be absolutely sure this is kit that people don't want.
Ta-da! Exactly. Not to mention also, by the way, all the people with the smart meters that don't work. They reckon, is it Martin Lewis reckons that we're talking about sort of like, a quarter of them or something don't work. People are being overcharged. And, of course, they're only there so they can charge you more at peak hours rather than charging you less other times. And, of course, I'm still being bombarded every time I talk to anyone from Labour. They cannot stop themselves from the launch of GB Energy. What a wonderful thing it is for the country. Cheaper energy, more reliable energy, more secure energy, more jobs. I mean, it's basically the saviour of the universe, isn't it?
Well, no one can work out what GB Energy is meant to do. I mean, obviously, Ed Miliband's getting off on GB Energy being publicly owned and so forth, but no one actually knows what difference it can make.
It doesn't produce anything. It doesn't produce any power.
And bear in mind, Ed Miliband has locked Britain into high and rising energy prices with the latest allocation round for wind and solar. Incredibly expensive electricity.
Wait a minute, Rupert, he hailed this as a great success because they had so many bids. But they had so many bids because they raised the price and the subsidies, paid for by the rest of us, right?
Absolutely.
This is proper the emperor has no clothes on stuff, isn't it? This is going to come back to bite Ed Miliband and Keir Starmer very, very hard in the backside in a few years' time.
Well, if you remember what Paul Mason said about Labour's top two priorities, higher growth and net zero, well, that you could do one or the other. You can't do both.
It's as simple as that. Rupert Darwell, thank you very much indeed. And by the way, if you want to fact check that and send it to Ofcom, all facts. But let's start fact-checking the claims of the government on this, because it's absolute bunkum, everything that they say on this. It genuinely, it is, I believe, gosh, what is it when you deliberately say something you know isn't true? I believe it's called disinformation. I thought they wanted to make a crime out of that. They really should think about doing that, shouldn't they?